Chris, when you react to this Tatis Jr. home run, this grand slam late in this game, how soft is baseball right now? How bad of a look is this for people trying to get into baseball? I mean, they look like children. All right, so let's make a quick pivot to baseball. So there was some drama in the major leagues a couple of days ago. Padres' young superstar, Fernando Tatis Jr., he swung on a 3-0 pitch in the eighth inning. The Padres were up by 7 runs over the Rangers. The game was a wrap. And so he swings on a 3-0 pitch in which I guess most baseball fanatics would say you're supposed to take ball 4, potentially, when you know a fastball's coming. Fernando Tatis Jr. swings at it and hits a grand slam because bases were loaded. He extends the lead for the Padres. The Rangers manager responded to it saying, "I didn't like it personally. There's a lot of unwritten rules that are constantly being challenged in today's game." I think it's absolute BS that baseball continues to have these baby unwritten rules about success that other players have. We see managers and players constantly complaining, moaning about home runs hit, about bat flips in the wrong places. Chris, when you react to this Tatis Jr. home run, this grand slam late in this game, how soft is baseball right now? How bad of a look is this for people trying to get into baseball? I mean, they look like children.
No, this is very soft. As a baseball fan, I'm just like, what is going on here? Come on, it's the 8th inning. I mean, if you don't like it, then why don't you make better pitches? Like, it's 3-0. You're throwing 3 straight balls. I think it was bases loaded. Like, this is your fault. I mean, he's just doing what he gets paid to do, and that's hit dingers, and that's why he's performing so well. He's just doing his job at the end of the day. You can't get mad at him for that. I mean, all these unwritten rules just get out of hand. I mean, bat flips going to Tim Anderson last year with him throwing that's just his swag. Like, people bring their personalities, they want to bring it to baseball like they do in other sports. And baseball just has this like long history, and people, it's hard to get fans, like new fans into it, because a lot of these old fanatics just want to say like it has to be done a certain way, when you have all these young stars that want to bring their flavor to the game, and people just don't like it. And I think that's where baseball needs to change in that aspect in order for their sport to grow.
The audience wants to see home runs. We want to see bat flips. We want to see personality. That's going to get us to follow baseball. Carter, you've been completely critical of baseball for doing little garbage like this in the past. I mean, when you see this happen, I mean, a guy hitting a grand slam, that's entertaining. Why does baseball not want stuff like this?
Yeah, I mean, this is like just such an age-old like argument where you just talk about like the older baseball fans clashing with like younger people who are starting to get into the game. Like, just like this whole like unwritten rule nonsense. I just think it needs to just like, if you're trying to get younger people into the game, like you have to like really get past that. And then especially if you're starting to talk about like performance. So it's like, I feel like to tell somebody, yo, don't do a bat flip, which I think is completely and utterly ridiculous, by the way. But if you're going to say don't do a bat flip, I think that's completely different than to tell somebody not to perform their job. Like, because they're winning the game.
More home runs hit in a season.
Right, exactly. Like, now you're telling me because I'm winning, like because I'm busting your ass, I can't continue to play at the level that got me to this point. Like, it's stupid. It's stupid.
Yeah, like nobody's gonna complain, and get mad at Tom Brady for throwing another touchdown if their team is blowing out another team. Or no one's gonna get mad at LeBron or any basketball player for shooting a 3 in a blowout and like the 2 minutes left in the fourth quarter. It's not gonna happen. So why are we getting mad in the 8th inning of a player trying to hit a home run? He's just playing. He's like mentioned, he's doing his job. He's playing his sport. Like, it's not like he's showboating on it. He was just playing his sport. He ran around the bases, came back, celebrated with his teammates. Everyone does it. It's just how the sport's played. I don't see why this should be such a problem.
All I see in baseball is a bunch of sore losers every time something like this happens. Like Chris said, if you don't want the home run hit, Don't throw a trash pitch. If you know it's a fastball on 3-0 and a guy could take advantage of that, then don't throw 3 straight balls when you got the bases loaded. You're not doing your job. Clearly, you're bad. So if you've got Tatis Jr. 3-0 in a 3-0 count, and you're already down 7 runs, the bases are loaded. What are you doing? I mean, can we get a new pitcher in? This is terrible. I think every time the bat flip happens, every time, like you said, this is performance-based. There are literal contract incentives for home runs hit, the same way that Tom Brady could get incentives for touchdowns passed, the same way LeBron could get incentives for making the playoffs. Kevin Durant just got $1 million incentives for the Nets making the playoffs. So if Tatis Jr. could have clauses in his contract for hitting home runs, and if he doesn't, he's a young player. I don't even think he hasn't even gotten paid yet. So these are important at bats. Grand slams are huge on his stats. This could lead to an extra $10 million on his contract for all we know when it's up. I can't imagine telling a player not to swing.
I just don't understand it. Like, you have this one written rule, that you're not supposed to swing on a 3-0 pitch, but then you have the Astros who do the most the worst thing you could possibly do in baseball, and there's no repercussions for it. And now when people are like, oh yeah, the season's happened, it's on, and you're suspending people 8 games, which is equivalent to 22 games in a standard season of 162 games, it just doesn't make sense. Rob Manfred's got to make it make sense. It just doesn't make sense to me in my eyes.